So have you ever wanted to build your own badge reader? So if you follow me on Instagram, more than likely you've seen this before. This is something I built during the holiday break when I didn't have much, to do. I only had the Arduino set to play with, so I had this idea I've had in my mind for a while, and I decided just to build it. It's more or less a combination of a number of Arduino projects that they list on their websites individually, like the LCD screen, maybe the RFID, and then the LED and the buzzer. Those are all separate projects, but I had this idea that I wanted to merge everything together. What this is really just, I guess, more or less a clock in, clock out kind of thing, to where you can scan your ID badge. Right now it already says that I'm here. If I scan again, it says, hey, I'm not here, I just clocked out. You can see the LED is off or red, and then I got a little buzzer here. Each time it scans, it'll do a little buzz. It only reads this chip. If I try to scan something else, it'll say, you're not me. So instead of tearing this down and rebuilding it, I decided I'll probably, I'm going to try and use Fritzing. So I'm going to go there and I'm going to show you how I built everything, and then I'll show you the code as well. That way you'll get the full picture of what it is. So while the build video is playing, I figured I'd take a minute to describe what Fritzing is. It's an open source software package that you can use to design and build projects, not only just Arduino, but other board or other electronic systems. If you want to, you can go to fritzing.org and go and download it. Again, it's free, it's open source. You go here to download. It'll ask you if you want to donate. You can donate. Just to go through this, I'll show you. They also have multiple different versions. If you want Windows 32-bit, 64-bit, they got Mac and Linux. They got all that. They even got the source code. But going back to Fritzing, it's my first time using it for this build video. It took me about an hour to build the whole system that I had with the Arduino board and the different attachments or hardware. Basically, the biggest thing I used was this search bar. It's got tons of different devices people have put into the software, but even the easiest thing that I used was just the search. If I just said the Uno, you search that, oh look, it comes up with all these different boards. You have this breadboard view to where you can actually bring in boards. If it'll do it, come on now. And then you can attach wires and just build electronically what you want to do. And then there's also other tabs too that shows you schematics, PCB, and it's even got a code tab. So if you want to do a combination or individual things like that, you can do that. So if you want to do that, it's completely free, open. I might even try and use this later on for other projects I want to do. But yeah, Fritzing, it's freaking awesome. So look into it, and then hope you guys enjoy. Well, here it is. Learn from me, folks. Don't forget to save your file before you close Fritzing. I didn't do that, and I lost the project. So, I took a screenshot of the video I made
just so I could, describe the wiring that I did. As you can see here, I got the Uno, and then what's over this actually is a prototyping board. Mine came with a little mini breadboard on top of here. That's just double-sided tape onto here, and then these are actually just plugs on the top side of the board. You can see here there's a USB plug and the power plug. So these top ones are the digital I/O, and here's I think the analog, and then here's the I think 5 volt and the 3.3 and the other oddball or side ones. So as you can see here, I got the buzzer. This is more or less pretty straightforward, hook it up to one side to power, one side to ground. I got the RGB LED that is hooked up into these are all the resistors here. You can see these are all 220 ohm. These are hooked up to the analog. I think this is 0 and this is 1. You'll see the actual pinouts in the actual Arduino code. I'll show you in a few minutes after we go over this. So you can also see on here there's the pot. This is more or less straightforward. This goes straight to the LED or LCD screen. These two you'll see all the pinouts for all the components in the Arduino code. And if I miss anything, please let me know and in the comments, and I'll try and reply. A lot of this is like I said in the Arduino examples. The only thing that's different in this project versus what I have on the actual breadboard is this board. I couldn't find the one that I have. Now it's very similar. All these pins are very similar. It's just I didn't have the actual board. So I emulated what I had, and then in the actual code you'll see what the pins are. So if we go over to the actual code in Arduino, you'll see here first you got to include some libraries. The LCD, the liquid crystal library, SPI, and the MFRC 522. Those two I think are just for the RFID reader. Going down a little bit more, you got some more variables defined or pins defined. I got green, red, buzzer. These are, as you can see, the analog pins. I think they're actually labeled as just inputs, but you can see later on I make them outputs. And then the RST pin and the SS pin, that's 9 and 10. Those are, I know those are for the RFID, and we'll get into that in a few minutes. Here is a line. These actually bring in these two pins to create. This is actually, I think I found some reference RFID example from somewhere. I had to dig for it. But you guys will see all the code that I use, and this actually might be able to be cleaned up if you guys wanted to use this from here and make it a little bit better. It could probably be cleaned up a little bit more. Going on with the variables, we got strings. I got color, name, and ID. First, start off with R. This will later on turn the LED red. My name, you could change this to your name or any other name. And then the string ID, or the string of an ID. This right here is the ID of the little chip that I used. This is actually my badge. So if I use a different badge, it won't have this label on it. It'll have a different label. So it'll see that and it'll say, hey, you're not, in this case, Josh. Liquid crystal LCD. These are all, I believe these are the pins labeled. And then it could keep going. So setup. This runs. First time the board is turned on and runs, this is run. Just to set up the board, and then this loop down here, everything below this will just continually loop and read. I set the pins, red, green, and buzzer. I set all those to output. Again, going back up here, they are analog 0, 1, and 2. Going on, this is actually boilerplate stuff from the RFID example I found. So the baud rate in there, and then this one we probably could get rid of because I have an Uno or a knockoff Uno. I don't have a Mega. So then after that stuff's in there, we go to the LCD commands. This is basically saying, you know, this is where I want the LCD to begin, start off. I clear it, set the cursor to the top left corner, and then you'll see two LCD print and then serial print. This LCD prints to the LCD screen. As you saw in the video, it says scan badge, and then here, serial print line. If you go to the serial monitor, we'll bring that in. Oh, other screen. So it says scan badge, and then as I go along, we'll see what happens when I scan. Some more boilerplate stuff for RFID. This is looking for cards. You know, if it's there, I'm going to go read it. If we keep going, we will see that it'll keep reading the card and appending it, and then if it matches, if the content string, so it's going to continually read and then build that, I think it's a hex, yeah, hex. It's going to build that. If the ID equals my ID, which is this guy right up here, if we go out here, so if the ID equals the ID that I read, so it's going to concatenate everything together, keep going, keep going, keep going. If that equals that variable up there, and if the color equals R, which is red, it's going to do the little tone, the buzzer. It's going to buzz. Well, first it's going to say color is green. It's going to buzz. It's going to wait, and then I believe turn the buzzer off. So when it does that, it's also going to do this little section of the code, which is it's going to clear the LCD. It's going to say Josh is, and then it's going to set the cursor down to the bottom right and say here. This is a bunch of spaces. This is really just to space it out to the right. And then if it's the opposite of that, you can see down here, if it's green, it will set everything, it'll buzz, and it'll say I'm not here. Now, if I don't select everything, if I go back up to the beginning, while I'm reading this and it's doing the LCD display, it's also going to print this to the serial port. If I go bring this back up and I scan, it's now going to see, you can see here, it's going to print this, not here. Josh is not here. Josh is here, and it's going to say UID tag, and that's actually my badge. So if I do it again, it's going to say I'm not here, and still again show the badge name. If I try and use the other board or other card, you'll hear it buzz a bunch. It say unauthorized access by, and it spits out the badge number that person had. It'll also log me out. It'll turn off the LCD and then wait 2 seconds and then loop back through and start waiting for another card to be read. Go here, go back to here. Hey, I'm back. So I know it's a little bit going back and forth up and down this code. If you have any questions, please let me know. I'll try and answer any questions, make anything more clear if you have any questions. And hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you learned something. Thanks.